Hi students, this is Miss Barnes and I am here to help you out on the projects. Perhaps that's all you have left to do in English 4B credit recovery, and it can be a little overwhelming and confusing at first. So I'm going to break down exactly how to complete the Afghan women project. After that, everything else should be a bit easier to tackle. Alright, so here is our home page inside English. If you notice, right now there is an extra credit opportunity if you finish a project by Friday at noon and you send me a message telling me what you did. You're going to earn yourself 15 bonus points. Plus, you'll have at least one project done. So it's a great feeling. When you come on our home page, please make sure that you read the old announcements. By just scrolling down, you can see that there's more about the projects. There's more about the buttons, more about how to find feedback. So check those out. The second important item in our class that you want to look at is this button called Resources. If you click on that, you will see several folders, and down here we have a folder for each of our projects. So this is one great spot. So say you have the Afghan Women Project. Come inside the Resources button, open up the Afghan Women Project folder, and here you have some tips. It tells you exactly what to do. And then I even gave you links to the worksheets. Here's part 2, part 3, and part 4. Alright, so you notice there are 4 parts. Remember, you always have your breadcrumb trail up here at the top, so if I click resources, it takes me back. You'll find the same thing for the choices project, parts 1 through 4. You'll also see the Rip Van Winkle, the fairness. If you have a hard time with the PDFs, you'll find documents. And if you don't know how to complete the speaking parts, voila. Alright, so this is your number one stop to go for tips, tricks for tackling these projects. Alright, second, let's look at the Afghan Women Project specifically. Let's go into the loyalty and betrayal. When you first open up your class, you only, as we know, adaptive release doesn't show everything at once, and that's okay. At this point, you probably should be able to see your folder for the project, and you will always be able to see this little links, Afghan Women Project links. So if for some reason you cannot find the 4 parts, I've linked them here for you. In all of the folders I've done this for you, so let's take a look at specifically this project. So part 1 for the Afghan Women Project, first of all, it tells you all the details about it. Part 1, we have a worksheet and we have these 3 poems. So you're going to read these 3 poems and then you are going to open up this worksheet and complete this worksheet for the 3 poems. Pay attention, there are 2 pages. It's really tricky, this one. Also, when it first pops up on your computer, I recommend, while you can type while it's open in a new window, if it hasn't opened up for you, you do want to save it on your documents. So let's say, for example, here it is. And I simply open up my PDF document. Give it a second to open. You can see it's thinking about something. Now, once it's open, you can type your name and you can go ahead and type in your boxes. Alright, when you are all done and you do want to remember to save it, don't just hit save, do save as, and actually give it a name. So I will call it Miss Barnes. Alright, and there's my Afghan Women Project. Alright, you can see I've got my name, the project, and what worksheet it is. So let's take a look at these items on the worksheet. Make sure we understand all of them. The setting, where does it take place, and the words in the poem that led you to that conclusion. The narrator's identity. Remember, the narrator is not the author of the poem. The narrator is who's speaking. Sometimes the poem is written by a man, but you can tell that the narrator, the voice of the poem, is a woman. So, who is the narrator? Take a guess. Alright, what words in the poem help you guess who the narrator is? Again, what's the narrator's attitude towards women in society? Again, it's not going to tell you specifically the narrator's attitude towards women is. You have to guess based on the words in the poem. How does the narrator feel about how women are treated in her society? The narrator's state of mind. What is going on with the narrator? Are they angry? Are they happy? Are they confused? Are they perplexed? Are they standing up and fighting for what they believe in? Again, you're using the clues in the poem to come up with an educated guess for some of these boxes. Next, what is the mood? Mood is like the overall emotion of the poem. So what's the overall emotion? Is it sad? Is it torn? Is it disgusting? Is it shocking? What is the mood? And once you have the mood, find words in the poem that led you to that conclusion. Is there 2 or 3 specific phrases that the author used that helps show that mood? On to page 2. What's the best image in the poem? This is for you. What is the most powerful image? Is it an image of someone shaking their fist at the sky? Is it an image of a flower falling from someone's hand? All right, for you, what is the best image? And then finally, we look at the conflicts. What is the conflict going on inside the poem or inside the narrator? Again, if it doesn't directly tell you, you're guessing based on the details in the poem. And finally, how are the conflicts resolved? What's the resolution of this poem? If it's not resolved, that's okay. You can explain why it's not resolved. All right, so remember, when you're looking at poems, you often are just using those clues inside the poem to help you determine each of these areas. All right, so once you finish part 1, great job. You're ready to go to part 2. All right, don't submit yet. You're going to submit after you finish completing all 4 parts. Part 2 is listening. So obviously you're listening to these two, to all of these poems, and you are going to complete this worksheet. Alright, so you're going to complete all of these boxes for these poems. I'm sorry, you're only going to choose one. I always get confused on this part. So just pick one to listen to, and you will complete this worksheet for one. It's only one column. Alright, once you're done with that, please be sure you save it. Save it next to the other one that you completed. Part 3 is the writing. This is where you're going to write a poem in response to the poems that you've read. It could be a response, an emotional response. Maybe you are pretty angry about Afghanistan women and their plight, their place in their society. Write a poem about that. Maybe you are friends with one of the Afghan women. You want to pretend that this is your friend and you're having a dialogue with her. Maybe you simply want to talk about the experience that another Afghan woman might feel. Okay, so it's basically a response to these poems. It's your own reflection and response to what you've read about these women. All right, next, that's part 3. So remember, make sure you save that. And part 4 is the speaking part. You're going to record the poem that you wrote. So if it's really long, and really long means like a page, over a page. If it's 3 stanzas, if it's 15 lines, read it all. You could do it. It's just 15 lines. You're going to make a recording. There are directions about how to make a recording in the resources button that I showed you, and I'll show you again. But once you've done that part, you have all 4 parts, and now you are ready to submit. So I'm going to go back on my home page. Let's pretend that you are now ready to submit the project. So I go back into Loyalty and Betrayal. When you are all done with the actual project, when you're all done with this unit, you will see a folder that says L Project Afghan Women. It's different from the links. Your class might have 2 places for the links, and that's okay. But here, let's go ahead and open up this folder. And here, I can either review the assignment or I can submit. I'm ready to submit. I've done all 4 parts, and now I want to turn it in so I can get graded. You first see this box. It's really big and it's tempting to type your assignment there, but please don't. That is simply if you want to tell me a message like, hey Miss B, hope you're having a great day. Or, hi Miss B, looking forward to your feedback. Or you can leave it blank. Or you can tell me a joke. But what matters down here is attach a file. So I'm going to click Browse My Computer. I'm going to remember where I saved that. Looks like I've got Ms. Barnes, Afghan Women Project number 1. Alright, so there's my first worksheet. Remember, there are 4 parts, so I'm not done yet. So I'm going to browse. Let's just pretend this is another one. I've got 2. I still need 2 more. Let's just pretend that's the 3rd one, and let's find the last document. Okay, so let's say these are my 4 parts, and I'm ready to attach. If you're like, oh, wait, I don't want to attach this one, just say do not attach, browse, and find the correct one. So I've got my 4 parts. I am ready to submit. Ignore all these other boxes. Don't hit save as draft because it will disappear. Hit submit. Click submit, and once it takes it, see this green box right here? This assignment is complete. Awesome. That's what I love to see. So you can see the assignment name, you can see your submission, you can see all the files that you just attached, and then it says that it needs grading. And so I get it on my part, and I'm able to grade it for you within 72 hours. If you haven't discovered the My Grades button over here, you will want to. It's not going to show grades because I'm a teacher and I don't have grades, but you will have grades in here, so that's a very handy spot to look at. Alright, remember, Life and Death unit, you have the Choices project. So again, you have all the links in there. You have the Time project, which is called Rip Van Winkle, so you have 2 places to find your links. Alright, and you have the Justice and Injustice unit, which has the Fairness project, which has a research paper, which is a little tricky, but doesn't mean it's not doable. And finally, you have your Resources button. Super important details for all 4 projects. Even if you're stuck on a writing assignment, just come in here. Say you get stuck on the Rip Van Winkle project, alright, and you're like, oh, my creative story. If you don't know, here's an extra file to help you with your creative story. A couple of more things I want to show you before I wrap it up. You will also find, if for some reason you have a hard time working with the PDFs, you'll find rich text versions, which are usable with word processing programs in here. If you don't know how to complete the speaking parts, you don't have a microphone, or you don't know how to do that, that's okay. Open up this completing the speaking parts folder, and it has details. And then the very last assignment in class is a final essay. When you are ready for that, there's details about that in there as well. Finally, if you have questions, or as my banner says here, when you do finish a project and you want those bonus points, you need to send me a message. You need to use this communication button. I'm not going to give you 15 bonus points if you don't send me a journal, a message. So let's make sure you know how to use that. Over here is the communication button. And what you're going to do is click on this button that says Create Journal. Give it a title like Project Completed. Then you type your message. Hi, Miss B. I finished a project. Woo! Student. Okay, there's your message. You can submit it. I'm not going to submit it because it will send me a message from myself. But you submit and I will be able to see that. Alright. So, remember, read these banners, read these old announcements, use this resources button, please, 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 and handy dandy links are available for you in each of your folders that take you directly to all 4 speaking parts in case you're having a hard time finding them. And finally, communication button. If you need help, please send me a journal. I'll get back to you as quick as I can, and I'd love to help. I know you can be successful, and yeah, looking forward to seeing those projects, guys.